Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Raymond with Alaska Butcher Supply. Today we're going to make some cheddar jalapeno bratwurst. So we're going to do something a little different. We're going to try some fresh natural hog casings, 35-38, and we're going to try some collagen 32 casings. We've never tried the collagen. We want to try to play with a couple of different things just to give you guys some guidance. So we got our jalapenos, our soy protein, our high temp cheese. I'm going to put 2 bags per 25 pounds. They're a pound each for the high temp cheese. We got 2 cups of soy protein and about a cup of jalapenos. We got our instant cure number 1 and a half a cup, and we're going to use the butcher twine to link the bratwursts in the collagen casings. There's a couple of different ways to do it. We're going to try it that way and kind of see how it works. And we're going to stuff with the grinder today using the stuffing tube, and we'll put the stuffing plate on there. So we're going to get the meat on the table. We're going to get the first ground done. We're going to do 12.5 moose, 12.5 pork, and we'll start the process and we'll go from there. All right, so we have all the meat cut up. We've got our pork here and all our moose. Cut them in long strips like that. So we're going to go ahead and turn the grinder on, and I actually got a universal foot pedal so I can let it go on it as I please. It's going to work really nice. It's just going to help handle the casings as you're stuffing it, all the above. So we'll get the grinding process going, and again it's 12.5 pork, 12.5 moose. This is the first grind through a 5/16 grinder plate. And this is the 722 Biro. It's an awesome grinder. So here we go. As you can see, you don't even need the stomper. If you cut them in long skinny pieces, they just fall right down in there. We got our first ground all done, and here we're going to show you adding the seasonings, and we'll do the second grind and we'll start that process. Alright, so we have our first ground done with the pork and the moose. If you're using suet, you can do a 70-30. We did 50-50. 12.5 of pork, 12.5 of moose. So we're going to add the seasonings in the instant cure, but we are going to wait to add the jalapenos, the soy protein, and the high temp cheese until after our second grind. So we have the instant cure number 1. It's a 1 ounce pack, and we have it right here in this half a cup of water. So you can just disperse throughout the meat. And then what we'll do is you'll take the 2 cups of water with your seasoning. The seasoning's for 25 pounds, and this is the Excalibur seasoning. All of our Excalibur packets do 25 pounds. Just disperse it throughout the seasoning nice and well. And we're going to give a good mix on this. Maybe a little bit of a cup of water, half a cup. Alright, so we're going to get this all mixed in really good before we do the second grind. The second grind is going to be through a 3/16 grinder plate. Now you can add the seasoning after your second grind or in the middle. There's a lot of things online. You can't do it wrong. There's a lot of different ways. We like to add the seasoning after the first grind because it just helps disperse the flavor throughout the meat. Gets another good mixture on the meat. Get the little bit of leftovers in there. And altogether, I would say we're about 3 cups of water. You can't use too much water. So we start off with 2 cups. We're at 3 with the half a cup of the instant cure. And just mix it within the meat as best as you can by hand, unless you have a mixer. So got the seasoning all mixed up in there. And we're going to go ahead and do the second grind now. So you can get a bunch up top there. We'll bring in another tub. Catch the grinding part. Still got the grinder on with the universal foot pedal. And then we'll take the second tub under here, and we'll start this second grind. Get all this ground up for the second time, and then we'll add the jalapenos, the high temp cheese, get a good mix, and then add the soy protein for last. So we'll get this all ground up, and then we'll show you the mixing part. Okay, so we have the second grind done, and what we're going to do is add the jalapenos, high temp cheese, and the soy protein, or non-dried fat milk if you're using that. We say about a cup every 10 pounds. And we're going to add that last because it gets really tacky. So what we'll do is we'll add 1 bag of cheese, and then we'll give it a good mix up. Just want to get it all nice and mixed up in there. And we don't grind the cheese and the jalapeno in the grinding process, because we just come to find out once you do that, it just really demolishes the jalapenos and cheese. You just can't see it in the product. It just doesn't taste the same. So we like to do it after all the grinding's done. So I got 1 bag of cheese in there. We're gonna half a cup of jalapenos. Get this mixed up. We'll dump the rest of the cheese and the jalapenos in, and then we'll add the soy protein. And then you'll see how thick it gets. You just want to add the soy protein or the non-dried fat milk last, because once you add it, if you added it with the cheese, it could make the cheese clump up. It could make jalapenos clump up. And it just helps disperse all the products throughout the meat. It's already getting a little sticky just from the seasonings, and it's settling. Once you add the binder, it gets really sticky, and then you want to get it in the casings right away. So we'll go ahead and add about half of the binder. Sprinkle it nice and evenly. Get this all mixed up. It's already getting really tacky, sticking to my fingers. That's what you want. It helps, the binder helps stick the meat to the casings. And so when you bite into it or cook it, the casing doesn't separate from the meat. Alright, so we'll add the rest of the binder. And then we're going to get this all mixed up really well. And then right after we get the mix, we will get it into the casings. Alright, so we're about to get the meat into the casing. We have the hog casing here. It's the 35-38. It's a home pack that we sell. We sell them in bigger packs too. So right here we'll show you how to put it on there. We flush the casings out. We soak them in water so they're full with water still, some, and it just helps them handle more pliable to have that water there. So as you can see, he's holding it straight out, just putting it all the way onto the tube. The stuffing tube we're using is a 5/8 stuffing tube. So we're going to start. Then we bring the meat to the end of the stuffing tube. So bump the grinder. Then you'll tie the end of the casing off, and we'll go ahead with the universal foot pedal and get some meat going. You do want to move quickly when the casing's coming off of the horn. You don't want to overstuff these casings. You will have blowouts pretty easily. So as you can see, he's just moving a little quicker with the casing coming off of there. If you had a stuffer, you can go at your own pace. That's where it gets a little bit complicated with the grinder, but still doable, as you see. If you have a little left in there, you just push the rest out. You want to tie the end off there. And we'll go ahead and tie the end of that casing off. Well, first we're going to link it actually, because what we found is if you link it, if you have a little too much pressure, then you can squeeze any meat out. So here we go with the linking part. You can twist one counterclockwise, the next one clockwise. They do have sausage prickers where you would prick the air bubbles. If you have a couple air pockets, you can prick them. Helps the air disperse out of the casing for the casing to bind with the meat. And as you can see, just started one turning it one way, the other one the opposite way. About 3 to 4 turns, 5 turns right in there to keep them together. And they're all linked together. So we'll do another one here, show you how to stuff the second one, and we'll keep going, and then we're going to end up trying the collagen casings. Go ahead and we'll tie the end off there. And here we go. Okay, so we have them linked. Just doing a couple of them to show you how we linked them and everything. As I was telling you before, you just want to leave them kind of loose, because as you're twisting them, it creates pressure. And when they're too tight, they're going to blow out. But as you see, we kind of linked them all similar. Just kind of go off of your eyes, keep them loose, tie the ends off, and they're one big strand, so we'll hang them in the smoker. And I'll show you that process too when we get them in the smoker, hanging, all that good stuff. So now, this is a hog casing, a natural hog we used. We're going to try a 32 mahogany collagen casing. So a lot of guys out there still use the collagen. Some prefer natural, some prefer the collagen. So we'll get that video going and we'll show you how we do collagen. Okay, so we're going to start with the collagen casing. And you don't have to soak these, anything like that. So you just put it right on there. And again, we're using the 5/8 stuffing tube on a grinder. So just cut that right open. Grab one of these sticks out. Lay those down there. What we want to do is, you can tell the end, one of them's more tapered. That's going to be the end that's out. The one that's more squared, you can just slide right over the tube. And it should just slide right over it. Yep, so the whole tube's on there. I have the meat all the way to the end already inside the horn. So then you can just pull a little bit out of there. Tie the end off there. Now I'll get my assistant to step in here, and what we're going to do is we're going to stuff this whole collagen casing, make it into one strand. We're making brats, so we're going to link them. Now when it comes to collagen, there's a couple of different ways, but one of the easiest ways we come to find is we're going to link them with butcher twine. And we got a 12-ply butcher twine, and we'll show you that process once we get it stuffed. So we'll get the stuff in and show you how this goes. All right, here we go. We're going to do about halfway, and we're going to show you the linking process on this. All right. So, pretty much just link them like that. And make them even as you can. What we'll do, butcher twine right up here. And pretty much what you'll do is just take the butcher twine, tie a knot, take the next link. And that's how we're going to link them up. So we'll end up tying the knots through them all, and it's almost like a hot dog. And we'll just go and try to make them evenly. You want to leave it a little loose. As you see, this is kind of loose, but once they form into a nice hot dog, or a brat is what we're after. So then we'll keep tying them and linking them, and then we'll show you that process after we get them all linked up and what it looks like. Okay, so we got our first strand of the collagen casings stuffed and linked. As you can see, we just did it with the butcher twine. If you have a little extra butcher twine, you can just cut the twine off. But there's the nice linked dog. You got the butcher twine on each side. You'll be able to smoke it just in the smoker like that, hanging down. So there's the collagen. We're going to try the next one a little tighter. This one's a little loose, but you still want it loose. You don't want it too tight so you don't have blowouts or anything. So that's the first strand, and we'll get another strand going here, and we'll see how it comes out. It look really good, smell good. So there's the first strand. And that is the 32 mahogany collagen casings. So we'll go ahead and we'll start this next one. We'll get it going. Okay, so we got this next stick of casings, the collagen casings, all stuffed. What we're going to start doing is linking them here. Got some butcher twine cut off. If there's a little much, you can always go back and trim the twine up and make it nice and tight. And there's the first one. Now, if you want to make them all even, we like to go back and just kind of eyeball it. You can always put like a pencil on the table or some markings to try to get them about even. That always works. So we'll go ahead and we'll just tie a bunch of these off to kind of show you how we're just linking them. These collagen casings are really strong. When they're nice and fresh and bought, they hold up good. They can take some pressure for sure. But you can still blow them out, so you do want to leave them a little loose. We did tighten this one up a little bit. Take the next one. Boom, boom. See, they're linking nicely, nice and tight. Look really nice. You can cut the leftover butcher twine later once you're done linking. Then after we get the casings completely stuffed and linked, we'll leave them in the fridge overnight, and that just helps the seasonings, the instant cure, disperse throughout the meat. We'll start the smoking process the next day. The big thing is once you add the binder and the seasonings, you have to get it in the casing immediately. Once the binder starts setting, it will tear your casings, and it will be very hard going through your grinder, stuffer, or anything if it's sat and the binder settles. Alright, so we got all of the casings stuffed. We have our 32 mahogany collagen casings, and as you see, when you do the strands, they come as big links. And then we use the butcher twine to link them. And then we have our natural hog casings, our 35-38. We wanted to try two different casings to kind of show you guys. You can go the natural hog or you can do collagen. The skins are going to be a little different, but they're still both doable. We use the grinder, the 722 with the 5/8 stuffing horn, and we put a stuffing plate. So there's no knife or grinder plate. It's just the stuffing plate. Worked out well, as you can see in the video. We're going to leave them overnight in the fridge. Helps the seasoning disperse throughout the meat with the instant cure, and we'll get them in the smoker tomorrow. So hope you guys like the process of getting the sausage going, and we'll see you then. Okay, so today we're going to get the sausage in the smoker here. So we'll get it on these dowels. We had the sausage in the refrigerator overnight. Just helps the flavor and the instant cure disperse throughout the seasoning. We did 25 pounds of meat, so you'll want to add 1 ounce of instant cure per 25 pounds of meat. So we'll go ahead and get these guys on there. Main thing is just not having them touch each other. Okay, so we have the smoker with all the sausage in. I've had it on for about an hour, and none of the sausage is touching. As you can see, I got one probe in the back there. I got one just hanging in the middle for the internal temp of the smoker, and then I have another probe right up here up front for the internal of the meat. None of the sausage is touching. You might get 1 or 2 here and there that touches, but just try to air them out the best you can. We are going to throw about 1 can of sawdust in here as we start off. Just trying a couple of different things. The sawdust is a mixed hardwood, so we will go and lock this up now. And I started with the temperature of the smoker at 100 degrees, 110 degrees if you can see that. So we'll leave it there for now. The internal temp of the sausage is about 39 and 34. So we'll let the sausage get up to about 80, 85 internal temp, and then we'll take the smoker up to about 125. And we'll start the process. I got the dampener about 3/4 of the way closed. And then the dampener up front about 1/8 of an inch open for airflow. And we'll come check on it here in about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Okay, so we're on the next day for making the sausage, the cheddar bratwurst, jalapeno brats. And we used a Munich style Excalibur seasoning. You got to add anything you're going to smoke. You want to add, if you're doing 25 pounds, the 1 ounce of instant cure. That's just in the smoking process will prevent the botulism. So we have our ice bath here ready for when we pull the sausage out of the smoker. When the internal temp's 160, it shocks the meat to quit the cooking. We have the internal temp at 55 right now. And the smoker is still set on 110 degrees. I don't know if you could see that. And the dampener, we do have 3/4 of the way open. We've had it open like that for about an hour. So we're gonna go ahead and close it all the way. So the dampener's closed. The front's about 1/8. And you shouldn't open the smoker door. You wanna leave it closed as much as possible. We're going to take a quick peek just to see how it's coming out. So there's the smoker and all the sausage in there. I got the 1 pan of sawdust in there already. Some guys like to do it the last hour of the smoking. I put about 2 cans, one at the beginning, one at the end. Get that smoky flavor. I'm using hardwood. It's a mixed blend. We're using the little PK Smokehouse smoker. Very good smoker. It's a PSS 100. So here we go. We'll start the smoking. We'll come and check on it within the next couple of hours. Once the internal temp of the sausage hits about 85, 90, we'll bump the temp up to about 125, 130. You want to go slow as possible for smoking because the end results are always better. Okay, so as you can see, the sun is hitting the smoker. Makes a difference when you're smoking for time wise. So the internal temp of the sausage is 102. We've only been gone for about an hour and the smoker is still sitting at 110. So we're gonna move the smoker up to, let's go 125. Set the smoker. Okay, so that just took the smoker up to 125. Internal temp is 102, 106. So we'll let that get up to about 115. And then we'll crank the smoker up to about 135, 140. So it is smoking really fast today. And there is a different wattage for using in the smoking part of it. You should go on the lower watts. Usually we've been using the higher watts just because it's been outside and it's colder temperatures. So we will leave it on the higher watts. If it was like 70 or 80 degrees outside, you could put it on the lower watts for the smoking process. Finishing it out is when you would turn it on the higher watts for the last hour and it finishes out your product. So that's where we sit. We'll come back and look in about an hour. All right, guys, so internal temp of the sausage 115. We got 113 right there. This probe's in the back of the smoker. This probe's in the front of the smoker. And then this probe's just hanging in there telling internal temp of the smoker. This is probably a little overkill, but just like to use some extras. Love to be accurate. Always better product when you are. So let's see, the smoker's at 125. And what we're gonna do is go ahead and raise that. Let's go up to 140. Set that. Sausage is definitely cooking quicker on this nice sunny day. So we set it at 140, about 117 internal temp. So we'll come check on it in about an hour. All right, guys, so internal temp, we got about 135 right there, if you can see it. And then internal temp, 126 over here. Smoker's at 145, so let's go up to 160. 160. About 135, so we'll let the internal get up to about 145, 150, and then we'll raise it up to about 175, 180. So we're keeping within that 20 difference of internal temp of the sausage and the smoker, and we'll check on it here in a little bit. All right, so the internal temp is about 151 and the back is about 133. Now this probe is in the natural hog and this is in the natural collagen. So we are seeing a difference in the internal temp. Now why? I'm not too sure at this moment. So I just put a second can of sawdust inside the smoker down at the bottom. The front are the collagen and then the back are the natural hog. So I'm thinking it's something to do with the casings, that it's causing the temperature a little different. So what we'll do is we're gonna bump the smoker up to, let's go 175. We'll hold it at that. We'll keep an eye on the hog brats, hog casings, and we'll keep an eye on the collagen. And we'll come back and check on it here in about an hour. All right, so we got the internal temp of the sausage at 165. That's the collagen casings. As you see over here, we're at 151. That's the brat casing. So we're gonna go ahead and pull this collagen casing out, put it in an ice bath, and we're gonna finish out the brats. So the collagen casing is just a thicker casing. That's why we believe that it is holding the heat in and cooking out quicker. So here we go on pulling these off. So we got this first set here. And we're gonna go ahead and then just dump those right into the ice bath. Then we're gonna go ahead and take this middle probe out of the sausage right there in the middle. We'll go ahead and pull that next sticks out. And then we have the natural hog back here. We're gonna keep the hog in to finish them out. So let's put the probe back in there just to see the temperature of the smoker. Go ahead and close this door. All right, so this probe ain't doing nothing no more. Okay. So we are sitting at 151 internal temp for the hog. We'll get that up to about 165. And we have this down here, the ice bath. We'll just lay the ice right on top, let them sit in there for about a half an hour. All right, so we came back, jumped up pretty quick. We're at 177 internal temp. So we're gonna go ahead and get these guys out of there. Get this middle probe off. And then we'll go ahead and pull that probe right out of that back sausage. We'll put these right in the ice bath. Get the second one out. They look all beautiful and smoky. Go ahead and dump those in there. And there they are. So the smoking process is done. Put them in the ice bath. Took about 6 hours to smoke. And we'll let them cool down, then we'll cut them up, get them all vacuum packed. There's a little bit of a slight raw right there. That means it was touching another sausage. That's what you're trying to prevent. but for the most part, you're okay. It's all cooked. And we'll get them all cut up and vacuum packed, and I'll show you guys that. And thank you for watching. It's Alaska Butcher Equipment and Supply, and hope this video helps.